Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 9th day of April, folks. Listen, tomorrow will be the 10th. We will be 2 weeks out of the NFL draft after tomorrow. So basically, we're 15 days. That's how fast the sports calendar is going. Great game Monday night. What a nail biter. Talk a little bit about that game. Florida Gators and, of course, the Houston Cougars there. Wow, man, Houston, you got to get a shot off, man. You got to get a shot off, even if it's a bad shot from 35 feet away. That was really horrible way to end. Gonna haunt Houston and those players all off season, kind of like Duke and the way their game ended on Saturday night as well. But again, got a great show with you. The Nuggets, not only did they fire Mike Malone, they fired, who's this guy, Todd Golden? Their general manager as well. Got a few thoughts on that. But also wanted to add that I've got a guest coming in. You remember my neighbor Roy and his cousin Eddie. Eddie's out of Chicago land like Roy. Of course, I'm here at Nashville now. Roy was the big Pittsburgh. He's the big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. His cousin Ed was the Ravens fan. Well, his younger brother Alan Norfleet, basketball player, star basketball player out of the Chicagoland area. Going to ask him what's his future looking like. Going to have him on the program. Him and, of course, my neighbor Roy as well. Always a great guest here. So they'll be coming in around 25, 30 minutes past the hour. So let's take our first and only break. And I got a lot to get to. We will hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. Thanks.
All righty, then. I got to get to this before my guests come in, everybody. Let me say this. And I think I speak for a lot of people. I know that Mike Greenberg from Get Up said the same thing. This Final Four is probably the best Final Four I've seen in 10 or 15 years. I'll put it this way. I can't remember a last time I've seen a Final Four this good. I mean, going back to Saturday night, Florida down by 9. As I said on the last live show with the Mad New Yorker on Thursday, I said, yeah, I'm going to try to work as much as I can on Friday and some on Saturday morning because it's supposed to storm again. And, of course, here in the Nashville land area, it did storm again. And we had tornado warnings and everything. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but we had more flood issues. I didn't get out. I watched the games on Saturday night. Auburn up by 9 points at one time, I want to say, against Florida. They gutted it out, win that game. Houston game, could not quit watching. I want to say Duke was up, I don't know, like 14 points or some crazy amount of points like that. And I tell you, no field goals in the past 10 and a half, or one field goal with the last 10 and a half minutes to go. Duke, coach, it's on the coach. You can't really put it out on a guy who just turned 18 in Cooper Flagg. I don't know if you want to say he's the choke artist, but Houston, the more physical team, they got away with a lot. I was just finished watching that Florida game against Houston, and Walter Clayton Jr. was right on one particular three-point attempt. Guy got him right on his wrist, no call there. Played very physical. Refs let Houston get away with a lot. Houston had no business being in that game because those two players fouled Cooper Flagg in the previous game, and he would have went to the line. That could have ended it for Houston in that particular game. Even Stephen A. Smith said that was a foul in real time. For one thing, you at least be a no call instead of giving the Houston player two shots there. But that being said, you can't score just one field goal. You got to finish games. You have to finish games to win. So let me get back to my notes here about Florida. I mean, the Gators run in this tournament, folks, going back to the champion. It's bulletin board material for future coaches, in-game, halftime speeches with other good teams of future number one seeds. I just mentioned the fact that they had dogfights against they were down at one point, several points against Connecticut. Let's go back a few rounds, okay? They were down late against Texas Tech. What a comeback there, down 9 at one point. Same thing with Auburn. In this particular game, they were tied or down 38 minutes and 56 seconds out of a 40-minute game. Yes, you heard that right. Florida was down 38 minutes or tied in 56 seconds. Other words, Houston was tied or leading 38-56 out of 40 minutes, and Florida still comes back and wins this game, led by their senior player there, Walter Clayton. What's that guy's name? Walter Clayton Sr. or Jr.? My bad. Listen, this guy, let me make sure I got that right. I don't know why. And he wasn't even the main guy on this team. You know, he didn't have the big game per se in this particular game, you know. Yeah, that was him. I mean, going back to some of these stats here, let me make sure. I've got so many screenshots. Folks, you just got to bear with me here today. Let me see this. So Clayton, Walter Clayton Jr. there, 1 from 7 from 3, 11 points, but he made some big shots down. That 3-point play he made towards the end of the game kind of reminds me of Mike Bibby back in 1997. Arizona gets their first national championship. I think Luke Olson was his over Kentucky, and I was really pulling for Kentucky that particular year. But it was really this guy, Will Richard, the shooting guard there, 4 from 7 from 3, 5 for 10 field goal. Guys really played well. I think his name was Alex, but I'm going to make sure. What's his name? Condon, the center there. Just really, really good role player there around the basket there. Just good, solid team defense, physicality, team chemistry. Like I said, it's bulletin board material because you come into a game and you're favored. Maybe you haven't been there before. you're a mid-major, or you're a team that just became into a major conference like a Houston or something like that, and you feel like you're a little bit over your skis in a tournament where a team gets hot, shooting hot first, you can refer back to this Florida team. That's if I'm a coach. I refer back to the 2024-2025 Gator team and say, listen, we're not out of this thing. The Gators were down big in games. I still remember the 25-point comeback that Duke had in 2001 over Maryland in the Final Four. 25 points. I mean, think about how long ago that was. I mean, that was 24 years ago here in April, led by Shane Battier, Jay Williams, and, of course, Carlos Boozer against that Juan Dixon. I want to say Juan Dixon led Maryland team, which later on won the national championship the very next year over Indiana. And I had an Indiana guy in the Uber ride the other day, and I should have got him to come on the program. I should have tried to get his contact information here, but I didn't. It was because it was a short ride and the guy wanted to get going, but really it was Alex Condon was at center. I was trying to think of earlier. And, of course, Will Richard there. As far as Houston's side, again, it's still a great story. It's still a great story of Calvin Sampson. And I look back at what he has accomplished here. I've got this off Front Office Sports here. The other day I talked about Calvin Sampson, the comeback story. Remember, he had the 5-year show clause. With the recruiting violations going back with 2008 with Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma and whatnot. But this is since Houston has hired him in 2014. That's just 11 years ago, right? They've got a $25 million practice facility, $60 million arena upgrade, first March Madness win in 34 years. That was back in 2018. School record 33 wins, and 2021 first Final Four in 34 years. Now Campson has, and of course they played for a national championship tonight. I do feel bad for the guy. Here's a stat about the Duke game. Going back to that, this is from Odd Shark. Love these guys. Duke had a higher shooting percentage than Houston. More free throws attempts than Houston, fewer turnovers, more assists, more steals, and still lost. They're the first team in March Madness history to lose a game while leading these categories. The other previous teams were 335-0, and they were a bad call from winning it. So, listen, just not a talented team. Calvin Sampson got everything, every bit of guts he got out of that team. And, of course, they'll still, going back to the Florida game, they're still going to feel bad. That's going to haunt them forever for not getting that shot off. I don't care if it was a brick or everybody. You just cannot lose like that. Good Lord. But anyways, I think this is a good place for college basketball. I think NIL has elevated it to a level, again, highest rating since 1993. The rating, I have not found the rating yet that's come out for the national championship game. I'm sure the way this game played out, it was going to be really high. I listened to it in real time, on and off on the radio while I was doing Uber Monday night. But I just watched it. Man, that was just not a dead moment in that game. It was a fist fight all the way to the very end. And I think the people are really going to love that kind of energy. It's coming to a new place here, and I hope that it can continue to elevate farther and farther, and the NBA back up college and say 3 years out of high school or 21, whichever one comes first, is when a player would be allowed to play in the NBA. Again, wouldn't you like to see a guy like a Cooper Flagg come back and right that wrong he did this past year? Wouldn't you like to see him come back with that Duke team and those other two freshmen that are with him and some transfers and come back and with the chip on their shoulder with the vengeance to come back strong, like Duke did years ago after losing to UCLA and going on and winning the national championship there shortly after, and start Coach Mike Krzyzewski's run. Just food for thought. Just food for thought. Okay. NBA. Oh, I've got to get to this because I'm short on time. First of all, I already had it in my notes. I had it, folks, in my notes to ask Carlos, the Mad New Yorker, what is wrong with the Denver Nuggets. They blew another game over the weekend against the Indiana Pacers. They were on a losing streak coming into the playoffs. Lost to Indiana on Sunday night. Lost 118-104. Golden State. Lost to San Antonio. Wembanyama's been out for weeks now. Lost to the San Antonio Spurs. And, of course, Minnesota. Westbrook blew that game. It was a wildfire. I mean, it was totally his fault. And I'll come back to that. They're just not beating anybody. They did beat Houston. They barely beat Houston 116-111, but still, it lost to Chicago. One thing after another. I read that Mike Malone was butting heads with this guy Calvin Booth, the general manager. They were at odds on over everything from roster reconstruction to the way players were used, creating tension that started to bleed out to the rest of the organization. And this general manager here, Calvin Booth here, he didn't have any years left on his contract. He was let go. And, of course, Mike Malone, just a few years after winning a championship, I want to hear his side of the story. I would love to hear it. I want to say he has like about 2 years left on his contract, was let go. But essentially what had happened was that these two were over they were at odds over wanting to play this player over, and I can't remember his name now because I'm trying to find it in my notes, but it was over Russell Westbrook. When I first heard about this firing, without being able to go, because I read it. I read it off the X out. When I first read about this firing, I thought to myself, this has got something to do, either it's got something to do with Westbrook, I bet it's got something to do with Westbrook. And I bet it's got something to do with players not playing defense and not knowing when to do their switching or whatnot, missing assignments. And sure enough, it was a combination of all that. Mike Malone at a press conference a couple of weeks ago said, the players don't watch film anymore. He said, the players do not watch film anymore. And then it came out about the coach here, or this general manager, wanted to, there was also issues with the other players that Mike Malone was giving preferential treatment to Jamal Murray and the Joker here. But the general manager, Booth, wanted him to play younger player Jaden. Now, he may have had a point there. Over what Russell Westbrook more. Malone was playing Westbrook. Now, probably because Westbrook, although he had one of the worst plus minuses when he first came to this team, things got a little bit better. But Westbrook does not have self-awareness. He's in his, mid-30s at this point. Westbrook he's never really grown mentally from that player that he was at 24 years old. He's in 35, 30s. He's never grown from that player. That's why that Kevin Durant wanted to get away from him. That's why it did not work in LA. That's why he's bounced around the league. And you said, well, Robert, you said that it would be a good fit for Westbrook to go to Denver if you play him in the right role. Okay? You play him off the bench, I don't know, maybe after the first substitutions come out in the middle of the first quarter, then you want to play him maybe to start the second quarter, maybe a little bit into the third quarter. But the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game, you cannot play Westbrook. He takes bad shots, illegitimate fouls. We saw what happened in the Minnesota game a few weeks ago. He cost the game. He just does not have the awareness. He's never had the awareness. He's never really grown from it, you know? And I think because they just do not consistently play defense on that team. They blew that league earlier against the Pacers. And you've got these cartoonish like stats out of the Joker. And I love the Joker just as much as everybody else. But he's being compared to a Olajuwon, Shaq. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he's a very skilled player. But how can you put him above those guys with one championship? And that's what the ownership's looking at. They're saying, man, they do not look like a championship team. What the heck is wrong with them? They're the 5 seed right now. You know? They're just not getting back on defense. And my issue with that general manager, I would have traded Michael Porter. Even if you had to go for an older player like a Jimmy Butler, who's helping out the Warriors right now. Okay. But they do not look like a team that's ever going to win another championship. They don't look athletic. They're not what Mike Malone says. They're not watching film. They're not getting. Now, I know Aaron Gordon, when he wants to, can play some of the best defense in the world. But if you cannot finish games, you're going to lose in this game, you know. And Mike Malone, ironically, had been there 10 years, okay. Bill Walsh said, the famous 49ers coach of the 80s, orchestrated West Coast offense with Joe Montana and all that good stuff, said that 10 years with an organization and through management or coaching, specifically coaching more than anything, that players tune you out after 10 years. Well, he'd been there 10 years, and it looked like this season that they were tuning out Malone, and I love Mike Malone. There's also been reports that Malone may go to San Antonio and work with Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. A huge blessing in disguise for Coach Malone. Okay? So I understand that aspect of it. And the other aspect of this is, we talked about the Florida game, and I know a lot of people's thinking about this young coach. He's 39 years old, out of born in 85. He's 40 years old, out of Florida here. And I thought to myself, I'm sure he wouldn't want to deal with this. Larry Bird, too, by the way. Former Indiana Pacers, he said 10 years, they shut you out after 10 years, man. You got to get a new coach. You got to move on as a coach. But this Todd Golden, I'm sure a lot of people say, well, you know, you're very young. You won a national championship. Do you want to take a shot at the NBA? No. These players, half of them don't want to play defense. They don't want to be coached. You had to change the rules. Forget the guys to stop this low management stuff, to stop award. You got to play 65 games to be eligible for awards and for, like NBA first team and all that. That has effect on the contract. Nobody wants to play back-to-backs. They don't want to eliminate back-to-backs. Coaches are pushing players out. Who would want to play for that? You know, and I'm looking here at the coaches that won a championship in the NBA, and they're now not even in the NBA. They were fired. I'm trying to find them now. Tom Thibodeau, this is what the Athletic said. Tom Thibodeau was hired July of 2020 by the Knicks, and he could get fired this year. He is the 4th longest tenure coach in the NBA, with Greg Popovich, of course, and the coach down in Miami, and Steve Kerr. Go figure. But here's my list here. Nick Nurse, 2019 Raptors coach. He's fired. Was fired from the Raptors. Frank Vogel, 2020. They went off 2 other coaches now for the current coach they're in. Bucks Mike Budenholzer, and they're about to move off their current coach. And of course, Mike Malone, that was in 2021. He's no longer with the Bucks. Frank Vogel with the Lakers in 2020, no longer there. Nick Nurse in 2019, he's no longer there. And then, of course, Mike Malone, who's in 23, and he's no longer there. Go figure. So it is what it is. Yeah, I'd stay in college. I'd stay in college, felt that Florida coach. Same thing with Connecticut, right? Don't go to the Lakers, man. You don't have any power. But anyways, speaking of great college, high school prospects and whatnot. Hey, Alan, can you turn on your camera backstage? I see you, buddy. But see if Alan, there he is, and Roy, and his other cousin, not Cousin Eddie. No, this is not the vacation movies. But this is my neighbor Roy, which he's been on with Cousin Eddie who's out of Chicagoland area. Now, of course, Roy lives here in Nashville with me, my neighbor here in the Nashville area. Remember, he was the big Ravens fan, and then Roy was the Steelers fan. We brought him on. We had a lot of fun. Well, his younger brother, Alan Norflick. Now, let me make sure and get his stats right. Alan, you have to bear with me, folks. Went to Perspective Leadership, but transferred after COVID to Epic Academy. This is out of the Chicagoland area. Plays point guard, 5'10", average. This is, and I believe if you look up, and I'll plug his YouTube page here in just a minute. 29 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. That's the part I like, 2 steals. Man, you got to play that defense here. Let me go ahead and get the crowd ready because these guys going to need a standing ovation if I can get my sound effect here. Hey, guys, hold on. Let me bring it in. Man, you're going to be hearing a lot of that, Alan. You stay on the right track, buddy. Hey, can you guys hear me, Roy?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great, man. That is good stuff. I was just going over how the NBA is constantly firing these coaches here.
Yeah,
Mike Malone got fired from the Nuggets.
Wow.
Okay, so Alan, now you changed schools here and everything, but let's go back to the very beginning. How long have you been playing the game of basketball, man? Now you're 19 now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just speak into the mic as much as you can.
Yeah, you got to get over. Yeah, I'm 19 now.
Okay. How long have you been playing basketball? When did you first pick up a basketball?
I first picked up a basketball in like 3rd grade. I started off playing football first.
Okay.
But I ended up getting hurt. And when I got to high school, that's when I started taking basketball serious for real.
Okay. Can you speak up a little closer to that mic, man? I can't hardly hear you, brother.
I was a football player first, so I ended up getting hurt. So when I got to high school, that's when I started taking basketball serious for real.
I'm like you, man. I didn't really like to get. I love to talk football. Man, I did not like to get. I did not like to get hit, man. You know, you got some very impressive stats there, buddy. I'll tell you that's good stuff right there. I was thinking about Chicagoland and a lot of the great Dwayne Wade, Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose. That's just to name a few. Who do you model your game after that's currently in the NBA or just of the past per se?
Currently in the NBA, I'll say Darius Garland. A lot of people, like, when I travel or playing for teams, a lot of people compare me to him.
Who, say that again?
Darius Garland.
Darius Garland from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, he also went to school here in Nashville at Vanderbilt University.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I like that, man. They may make a run this year.
Yeah.
Who do you follow in the NBA? Do you follow the Cavs?
Yeah, I do. I actually do follow the Cavs.
Wow. You threw me off there. I was thought you was gonna say, I don't know, Steph Curry or Jaylen Brown or one of those guys or LeBron or that's pretty interesting stuff there. How long have you been playing organized basketball, Alan?
Organized basketball since 3rd grade.
Oh, 3rd grade organized also.
Yeah, since 3rd grade.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, that's nice right there.
man, that's
What was
really
that?
cool.
What was that 3rd grade school? What was the name of that school?
Nino's Heroes.
Nino's Heroes.
That's out of Chicagoland as well.
Yeah, it's a small school, but we end up winning the championship. Like we end up making the school, the class that I was with, we end up making the school big.
Okay. Now, have you played Uncle Roy in a one-on-one game lately?
Nah, I haven't.
That'll be Thanksgiving. That'll be on Thanksgiving.
Oh, y'all just gonna play horse or something, Roy?
Well, the family, we got a tradition. The family, all the guys, we hook up at Auntie's house in Florida, and then my other cousin, he got 4 boys. Then it's me. And last year it was his older brother, but this year coming it's going to be Alan. We're going to see what he got on the court. The Florida courts are a little hotter.
It is.
In temperature.
It is,
so,
man. I
yeah.
tell you, man. I tell you, this is fun stuff here. Now, so are you in? Is that your current school now? Is this a community college? Or are you still in high school? What's your situation, Alan?
So I set out this year to finish my last year at AAU.
AAU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speak a little-
You know, I was just finishing watching the national championship game between Florida and Houston, guys, and they're just not a dead moment in there. I don't know if you know this, Roy. The ratings for the college game for this tournament have been the highest since 1993. That was the year. I don't know if you follow college basketball, but that was the year that Chris Webber had that phantom timeout that cost him the game against North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris Webber, I hadn't heard his name in a while. But
I say all that, Alan, to say that the game is so good because these young men are getting NIL money now, and they're transferring from mid-major schools. One of the best players for Tennessee, point guard, and I can't call his name off the top of my head, but he's about your height, man. 5'9". Tennessee made it to the Elite Eight. There's guys are making money staying in college and not going to this G League. Your marketing level's going up. Your skills are getting better. The coaching's better in the college game. I hope that. What is your goal going forward? Who would you like to play for, per se?
I don't specifically know who I like to play for, but I know for sure that I want to play D1.
You do want to play college ball?
Yeah.
D1.
Oh. D1?
Yeah.
Yeah, and see that's the right attitude, man. You know, you could start off at going, and not to be preachy, but you could start off and go into like I don't know what your grade situation's like. I got a college degree, but I had to take those remedial classes to get into Austin Peay. I had to take a bunch of them. Even if you had to go to a community college somewhere and then transfer to a mid-major, Loyola. I'm just going off a wild school. Some school you never heard of.
Yeah.
What's it? St. Mary's? Is that in Chicago area?
Yeah, St. Mary's. Is that? No, that's St. Martin's. I was thinking of. St.
Okay.
Mary's. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I ain't sure.
I thought they were in Chicago. It's a Catholic school. They won some, but like if you transfer there, and balled out like you are, 29 points, man, that's off the hook. And I like the fact you got some steals too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Then you could transfer to make potentially several $100,000 to a few $1 million, transfer it to like a Tennessee or Kentucky or an Alabama or maybe a University of Houston, play the great Calvin Sampson, you know? Even if you're – the point is there's guys 23, 24 years old in college that are going to the pros late. Now, of course, you may get to – you know, your game may take off and you can go after a year or two, but don't feel bad. You're not going to be broke while you're in college. It's changed so much just these last 5 years out, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But so you said you want to emulate Darius Garland. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, man?
Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years? That's a hard question.
Yeah, you'll be 24 then.
You're still playing. I mean, that's when you're coming into your athletic.
Yeah.
Definitely still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where you see yourself?
Do you have a team in mind? You got to have that vision board, man.
So where you going this month?
Oh.
So starting off this month, he got called out to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got called
for tryout, University of Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
I'm going to be down there meeting the coaches.
What is it, a training camp or?
It's a training, it's like a recruiting camp. Yeah, training recruiting camp. I'm going to meet the coaches, have dinner with the coaches, and then we're going to be in a resort for a week.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already doing big things. That's really good, man. You might not have to go mid-major route, sounds like. You know?
Yeah. So you're there for 2 weeks or 1 week?
1 week.
1 week?
Yeah, 1 week.
Huh. Okay.
You know what?
You got the coach name or is this a staff that?
It was
the recruiter.
My trainer. He contacted my trainer and then.
What's your trainer name?
Coach Brown.
So y'all have a trainer there?
My trainer
for your
from
school?
Chicago.
Nice.
The recruiter contacted my trainer, and that's how I found out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's awesome, man. You know, just reading the tea leaves of what happened in the NBA with Coach Mike, you know, Mike Malone, who the Denver Nuggets, they won the championship 2 years ago. And he's talking about players not watching film in the press conference a few weeks ago, guys. And I thought to myself, he's lost his team after about 10 years. A lot of times coaches say they want to move on after 10 years because they kind of lose the team. But I tell you what, man, not to get so preachy on you, but if you commit to defense and say, if you tell these coaches and you show them that you want to be the best point guard in the world, the best two-way point guard, defense and offense, like Kawhi Leonard, right? Or Jaylen Brown type of player. You tell them that, you're going to always have a job, man, and you actually commit to it. You know, some of the best players in the world that we've kind of forget about, they play great defense. You know, Kobe was a great defender. And Jordan, I don't know if a lot of people – now, I know Roy remembers it. You know, Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep, I remember that.
In '88. Well, I'm just saying that because it just the league is not playing great defense. I mean, because it's not glamorous. People talk about money and stats.
A lot of offense, stars that they being stars by themselves, and it's not
right.
It's not going to work because I don't make the team. You know, the team makes the team. And so we need one of those strong team players with defense and offense at the same time. So it's more than just scoring. It's stopping the other team from scoring as well.
I mean, that's why the Celtics are so good right now, you know? I mean, they really commit to that side of the ball, man. And that's how you separate yourself from the competition, you know, between that and – just stuff I've read over the years, not having a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women. if you grew up like I did,
We talked about that.
and
Yeah.
don't smoke pot. Don't smoke. Travis Henry, he's a football player. Now they're size 6'8", 6'9". Yeah, they get away with it. But guys that rely on their speed, they don't smoke pot. They just don't. They have that regimen, you know, and they stay with. Typically, you're very successful players, even though they do slip up sometimes. LeBron's been with the same lady since high school. Look how successful he is. It's something that this is what the coaches will tell you. This is real talk here. And guys like Travis Henry, he's a football player, but he said, the worst thing I ever did was started smoking weed, man. Then he said that led to one thing to another. Now I've got a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women, and now everything is all jacked up.
It clouded his thoughts.
But it's a lot of temptation when you got that money, especially start getting that NIL money. It just is what it is, you know. And I can tell you're balling out. Let me plug your for folks, and I'll give you guys a copy of this interview here. So do you go by AJ Allen?
Yeah, people do call me AJ.
Okay, so Allen's YouTube page, which has got more followers, subscribers than me. Congratulations, 445 subscribers. It's at AJ, folks. Capital A, capital J, FRM, DA. D is in Dallas. A is in Apple. CHI, folks. You put all that together, and I did it in the search, and your page comes up. And man, you out there balling, man. That's some good stuff right there.
Yes, sir.
I think you got a great future if you keep on keeping on, and keep the good influences like Uncle Roy over there, and the life there. Is there anything else you need to plug or anything while you're on here?
My Instagram. I got a basketball.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and plug your Instagram, man.
It's AJ2Swifty, capital A, capital J, 2 Swifty, capital X.
Okay, yeah. Instagram's really good with the younger. I've got to get on there. I've got a page, but it's like 50-something followers, and that's just not. And I know that a lot of the younger folks are into Instagram. Roy, my guest a few weeks ago, Crochet Clatt, guys. She's a comedian here locally, and she's got a great Crochet So Funny Instagram. She does skits with her kids, 300-something thousand subscribers. And people just love Instagram, man. I mean, I like the X app, and of course, TikTok's pretty good. But that Instagram, that's the thing, man. So y'all gonna play 1-on-1 on Thanksgiving?
Well, actually, it's not gonna be 1-on-1. We always have teams. Our family big enough. We run a whole court. We'll run a full court and see if he got what it takes.
Is that gonna be in Chicago or will be here, Allen, or here, Roy?
What? Pardon?
Where would this game take place, Roy?
In Florida. It's a big old nice wide court in Florida, and it's hot. But we run up.
So you won't have to worry about it being too cold.
Nah, it's not gonna be cold. It's gonna be hot. I
What
got
part
a
of
jumper
Florida?
myself. That's why it's hot down there. It's gonna be hot. I want to see if he can, withstand what it takes. We're gonna put him in the pros right there.
All right.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
what part of Florida is this? Tampa?
Yes, it's gonna be Tampa, Florida.
Okay. I remember
There's
you
some
told me
ballers
you
that
went.
we meet down there. Not only just family, it's a lot of people. Some college students come to exercise with us. They get in the game. And I'm 55, so I like getting my cardio in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready for the Big 3 League, Roy?
Yeah.
Ice Cube 3-on-3 tournament.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, but I'm excited that he's here. Get a peace of mind. Clear his thoughts up. He can stay focused. And a good thing happened when his trainer called him to Oklahoma. So that's a good
I'm
thing.
excited for you on that, man. When is all this supposed to take place?
I'll go down there April 18th.
Oh, that's a week from now.
Yeah.
Wow.
April the 18th.
Well,
Yeah,
Roy,
it's
you
moving
got to
fast.
keep updated. You know,
Oh yeah, I will.
you guys got to get some film of that game. Just a few cuts
Oh
there.
yeah, from the We're gonna get plenty of that. I'm quite sure he's gonna get some.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. You've done it, and I'm
Appreciate
sorry I
being
could
here.
not download your download those highlights or whatnot. I had to get them in the MP4. I've tried to get them off that YouTube. Either way, I hopefully bring you back on, and we'll eventually find a way to get that, and we'll upload some of that. We'll definitely get you some clips from this interview, and I'll give you guys the full interview as well. So just so you can use this for your own use and whatnot. Just us talking, folks.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
it's a pleasure chiming in with you, Robert. Always.
yeah. And by the way, Roy, thank you for always being. Your uncle is very supportive. He's tried to get me an agent for the Sports Scope. He's always he brought you on, brought his other cousin on. And how many you've talked to 2 or 3 people about me getting an agent, hadn't you, Roy? Downtown.
Yes, sir. I went to it was WME,
Yeah.
also Sony, and
CCA or
one.
CAA or something like that.
CAA. Yep, Creative Artists Industry.
No,
So,
CCA, that's the jail. No, don't get that
Yeah,
agency.
we don't want
I
that.
almost had that a few years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, Robert, Sports Scope, I like Sports Scope. It's to the point.
Yeah.
You got facts, and we got Concord Music next. I'm gonna
Okay.
be seeing a few agents.
I'm working
there.
on getting them follows up for you, Roy. I just wanted to thank you on the air, just like I thank you out in person, brother. That's good
Yes,
stuff,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
Much love, man. Roy's been my
Much
neighbor
love.
for
Thank you
almost
for
10 years.
inviting us to Sports Scope.
Hey, I'll bring you back. Hey, if there's a big update in the signing, you guys got to come back and talk about it.
Oh yeah, that's for sure, Robert. That's for sure. This is our home right here.
All right. Well, here's a standing ovation for the guys here. All right. Appreciate it, guys. And I'll be emailing you. Thanks. All righty then. Well, those guys are great, ain't they? Listen, go over a few other things here about that Mike Malone thing. Listen, there's also, you talk about a blessing in disguise. Going back to that story, since we got a few minutes here. Now there's rumors that Malone may get this San Antonio Spurs job because Greg Popovich is likely coached his last game. He is likely coached his last game due to him having stroke. Now we're talking De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, pretty good draft pick. Now, Lord knows, some people are saying maybe they get lucky and get Cooper Flagg. Now, if they get Cooper Flagg there, that's championship or bust in the next 5 years, for the Spurs there. But it hopefully things will work out right. And that's what I talked about with my guest here. As far as the NBA is concerned, let guys stay in college, make the money, make the product better, get the players developed, then go into the NBA, ready to contribute, win right away. And listen, if you got more, Mark Cuban, and by the way, that's a great game tonight, by the way. I can't wait to see. I think they're playing right now. Actually, the Mavs are playing the Lakers first, and the Lakers only up by 3 points. So at halftime in this game. But Mark Cuban said he only made profit in the NBA 2 out of 25 years. 23 out of 25 years he lost money on the Mavericks. Trying to console these players, So Like I said, I think just some changes need to be done. You've got to take this kind of player power away from players. I mentioned that going back to Mike Malone, for example, that particular story, the guy saying the players aren't watching film. You know, you should have a rule in the league that the coach, like you say, watching film. Now, this is cell phone here. This goes back to Johnny Manziel in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, folks, the Cleveland Browns knew that Johnny Manziel was not watching film. That's why they cut him when they cut him. He wasn't turning up because they had control over that tablet. He's not watching film. Now, you're talking 82 game. I understand 82 versus, but it's even worse, sport prep. That's why Manziel's not in the NFL no more, you know, out there screwing up. But you can't watch they should be able to find players, you know, find them a big chunk of money for not watching film. Have that where if you don't turn on that tablet and you're not watching film so many hours, you don't manage your time right, we're going to find you for it. You know, you're not going to show up and practice right or get back on defense. I'm going to fine you for it, for lagging. You know, that's something I'd butt heads on the Players Association for. You know, and that's why I was saying to my guest here, young man here, and he's a good guy. And I'm sure he does. He mentioned the fact that, you know, he plays the defensive side, you know. But anyways, I think that it's slowly but surely. I mentioned this before about the game going to having to play 65. That's just the start. You have to hold players more and more accountable. You have to take some of the power back. I know it's a players-run league because one player could change things and whatnot, but you're going to have to eventually take some of the power back from the players and make them be accountable. You got to watch film. You got to get back on defense, or we'll find somebody else that can do it. That would be the motto, even if it's a worse player, you know? So anyways, if you folks like the show, share the show. I think we had a great show tonight. There's a few other things I did want to talk about. I guess I could go over the fact that as far as the NFL draft is concerned, it's Cam Ward to the Titans. The news over the weekend is the Titans canceled a one-on-one workout with Schroeder Sanders. I want to say they had one with Travis Hunter as well here. And we've had one with Travis Hunter as well. That got canceled. Looks like he's the odds-on favorite, Cam Ward out of Miami. And I read this, by the way. I guess I can drop this nugget under the news and notes here. That Pro Football Focus says, in a clean pocket, along with the top marks, in a clean pocket, Cam Ward throws inside the numbers. The former Hurricanes quarterback posts the highest grade on third and fourth down, a vital distinction that separates him from the rest of the pack. That's from Pro Football Focus, which also they do the college game as well. So I think he's going to do it. And now as far as Travis, now I will, by the way, the week of the draft, I'm going to give you my mock draft. I'll give you top 10. I'll give you my top 10 the Wednesday before the draft. The draft is 2 weeks from tomorrow, folks. 2 weeks from the day, I'll give you my mock draft, that top 10. It looks like it's going to be Cam Ward at number 1. And according to Adam Schefter, it's going to be Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, number 2. That the Giants fell in love with Travis Hunter over this pro day, supposedly. Now you can use him as a corner, you can use him receiver. Hey, they've got Russell Wilson. Things don't work out again. I think 27 could be a better quarterback than 26, because I think Arch Manning's not going to come out to 27 after he gets 2 full years. And then number 3. So that would be the Giants. And number 2, It's a lot of leans for Abdul Carter there to play alongside with Myles Garrett, and the possibility. They got a lot of picks too. That Browns team to trade back in and get one of these other quarterbacks. You know, get one of, and same thing for perhaps the Giants, but I don't think the Giants will, but they might, or they may take a guy in the second round. Kyle McCord's name's coming up. The guy out of Syracuse, his name's popped up a lot. Jackson Dart, of course. I mentioned Jalen Monroe. There's a chance that Schroeder Sanders could drop all the way down to the 20s. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm leaning right now because of the Tom Brady connection that he won't make it past, he being a Schroeder Sanders, he won't make it past 6. He won't make it past 6 to the Raiders because of the Tom Brady connection. And I understand a lot of monks have the Raiders taking Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise, but this is an extremely deep running back draft. At 6 in the second round, I'm sure that they can pick around 6. I know it changes in the second round. It's going to be in the top 10 in the second round. That the Raiders could get a running back in that second round. Maybe a Tennessee's Dylan Sampson or somebody of that ilk. So anyways, again, I want to thank our guests for coming on tonight. And I'll be back here tomorrow arguing with the Mad New Yorker about what happened. And we'll talk about this coaching change and whatnot. And again, folks, we'll see you tomorrow live here on the Real Sports Scope. And again, I want to thank my neighbor Roy and his nephew who's going to meet with the University of Oklahoma. You know, Alan Norfleet is going to be good. AJ Glow, folks. Keep that in mind. This dude may be a star player in the making. He's got a lot of moves here. So have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place here on The Real Sports.